Unc and Ocho revisit the Katt Williams interview. They also talk about the backlash that Unc received based off of the content during the interview. Tune in.
I said, but this guy and what he said, I said it's gonna surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the interview that I'm talking about, is everybody's talking about it, is the Katt Williams.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to line this interview up since about the end of 2022.
Yes, sir.
And he's like, I don't know when I'm gonna be on your side of town.
Yeah.
But I'll keep that in mind.
Wait,
now,
so you had this brewing? You had this brewing since 2022?
I've been trying to set it up. So basically all the 20, I ended up getting this interview at the very tail end of night of 23. So I'm sitting on that like, man, and I'm telling CJ and I was talking, he's like, what do you think? He's like, it's gonna happen. I was like, I don't know. I said, all I can do is reach out, I can ask.
Right.
And he hit me back. Let's do it. And I remember telling, I said, CJ, Katt Williams people hit me up and say they want to do it. He's like, for real? I was like, yeah, for real. I said, whatever we got, so whatever we have planned, I don't like them. I said, let's just clear it out. Because I don't know what day. It might be a Tuesday, it might be a Wednesday, it might be a Thursday, it might be a Friday. But clear it out. Because whenever the guest is available, let's do it. Right. I did Chris Brown's interview at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night at his place. Right. So there's not a time that in which if I'm not working at First Take, that I'm not available. Right. So if you want to do it at midnight, we'll have a team there to shoot that footage at midnight.
That's live.
So he comes in. So I get there. I try to get there a little bit before the guest. CJ we might have some last minute. Okay, CJ. Okay, I kind of got a feeling of kind of how I want to go. I've moved some things around from the questions that you came up with and I came up with, but I've moved some of the stuff around because I think it just feels better. When I was going over this last night, it just felt better to go in this sequence. He's like, okay, hey, I trust you. You trust me. Just go with your feel. Yeah. So I get there. I'm getting mic'd up and I'm just talking. And he comes in. So he's already on one. He says, I've been waiting a whole year.
Right.
To say my piece.
The right space and platform to say his piece.
Yes. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, Shannon left so much on the table. Shannon is not a journalist. I've never said I was a journalist.
Right.
If you listen in my intro, I said, what I say, the person that's coming by for conversation and a drink, I'm a conversationalist, not an interviewer. It's a different space. He said, you've allowed other people a very safe place. That's why we like coming.
Keyword, safe.
Safe place.
Safe place.
I've also said on numerous occasions, if you want 60 minutes, if you want Dateline, if you want 48 hours, I'm not the place for you. Right. Go to those places and get those type of interviews. Right. Go to Lester Holt. Go to Nora O'Donnell. Go to, I'm not Mike Wallace, rest his soul. I'm not Ed Bradley, rest his soul. Or Dan Rather or Walter Cronkite, rest their soul. Tom Brokaw. That's not who I am. Right. So if you want those type of interviews, you need to go to places that have those type of interviews.
Right.
Now, the problem is Katt Williams was my 102nd interview conversation on Club Shay. He was the 102nd. Nobody said anything. Oh, but Shannon, you left this on the bone. I've had Magic Johnson. I've had Steve Harvey. I've had Michael Blackson. I've had Cedric the Entertainer. I've had DC Youngfly. I've had a lot of people. Nobody said anything about pushback and follow-up questions until I got Katt Williams on. Yeah. And this thing took off like wildfire. And the people that's commenting is like, you got 200 followers. You can't be a journalist with 200 followers. Right. Because even people that don't know the journalists, they got at least 4,000 or 5,000. Right. You're upset that he said everything that he said and he said it on my platform. Right. And now it's bringing attention to my platform. Just like I've had Ricky Smiley on. I've had Steve Harvey. You didn't say anything. I didn't push back about Steve when he said things about in his marriage. You didn't say a word. No. When he spoke about his daughter, you didn't say a word. Right. I asked Cedric about did he steal Katt Williams' joke. You didn't say, Shannon, you didn't follow it up. I've asked Ricky Smiley, volunteered. He said, I didn't ask him. He said that he was originally supposed to play Money Mike and Katt was supposed to play Santa Claus.
Right.
He said that. You never said a word about follow-up questions, and I left so much on the bone. It wasn't until this video, which is almost at about 11 million views in less than 48 hours. Yes.
Woo.
Now, mind you, Ocho, Steve Harvey's done 9 million views.
Yeah.
Who else? DC Young Fly is at 4 million. Ricky Smiley over 3 million. Magic Johnson over 2 million. I mean, a lot of these videos have gone viral and had viral moments. Nothing is caught fire like this.
Right.
This is what's upsetting them because first of all, he wasn't going to go on it because they don't know. He doesn't want to be. He wants to have a conversation. He says, you've allowed everybody else to come up here and say their piece.
Yeah.
The hardest thing for me, Ocho, as the interviewer, was the way he started. My thing was, do I interrupt him and get this thing back on track, or do I let him go?
See, when you're interviewing somebody like that, and with the safe place that you do call it, the fact that it's Katt Williams or a celebrity entertainer or any of these polarizing, iconic figures, you have to let them get their piece and say what they need to say. That's the whole point of you having a platform and him willing to come on your platform to be able to do an interview and tell his truth is you got to let him go. You can't steer it. You can't steer this one.
And so he did 30 minutes before I asked anything. Where you from? How this, your dad, your mom, brothers and sisters. But he wanted to get that off his chest. And people say, no. He says, the truth doesn't need motivation.
Oh, no.
That's what he said. He said the truth doesn't need motivation. He said there's God's way and there's that. And if it's not God, it's the wrong way. So while all you guys said, well, Shannon, you needed a follow-up question with what? I said, I didn't ask no follow-up question when said he didn't steal the joke.
Right.
That's not for me to decide. You decide. You decide who do you agree with. That's not my decision to make.
Right.
I told you when I first started this, my very first interview was my brother. I said, my job, I'm going to try to bring you some of the biggest celebs, entertainers, and athletes that I can possibly bring. And I'm going to allow them to have a conversation and maybe tell you something or share something with you, Ocho, that they've never said, or they've said it such a long time ago you don't remember it. But I want that entertainer, that celeb, or that athlete to share some things with you and give you a different glimpse of who they are, he or she. That was it. I never said I was a journalist. I never professed to be a journalist. I'm an entertainer. I have entertainers. And again, if you want hard-hitting questions, 60 Minutes is the platform from you. Dateline, 48 Hours. Go to Lester Holt. Go to somebody that does that.
This you got to understand. Those aren't safe places. Those aren't places where you can get what you want to say off. They dictate everything.
Yes. So
when you go that route.
Ocho, you make a great point. So let me ask you this. You think Katt Williams was going to open up as much as he did on any other platform? Absolutely not. If you go back and look, what's the longest? I mean, when we look at it, what's the longest interview he had done, Katt? Now, mind you, I haven't seen anything he posted on his social media page since 2020.